You okay, Bob?
Oh, look at this cat. Oh, I could eat you up.
She doesn't mean it.
He's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hi.
can I have a photo?
You all right? Yeah, okay, sure. Say cheese, Bob. All right, okay.
This is the most popular cat in the UK. It's also the star of the movie A Street Cat Named Bob. Incredible acting. Super popular. Has a dedicated page on IMDb. If animals could be nominated for Best Actor, he would definitely have a spot. Hello, this is Watch Movie Together channel. Today, let's watch the inspirational movie, A Street Cat Named Bob. The story takes place in London, in the heart of the city. The male lead, James, is busking on the street. People come and go. No one stops to listen. He sings from day to night. In the end, he only gets a loaf of bread. James is unemployed. To be precise, he's homeless. He has no money, no fixed home. Searching for food in the trash is an everyday occurrence. One day, he runs into an acquaintance, Baz, on the street.
Hey, Elvis, you've seen Dee?
I'm not looking for Dee.
Oh, you on the dollies yet?
You see a welcome sign over my head. Go away, Baz.
James avoids Baz like the plague, because Baz is a drug addict, and James ended up in this situation, because he got hooked on drugs. James is hungry and cold. He wants to buy food at a restaurant, but all his money isn't enough.
That's all I've got.
It's £3, mate.
Come on, I've barely eaten all day.
It's £3.
Can you let me off 9p?
No.
All right, I'll tell you what, look, I'll play you a little song, yeah? How about that? Play you a little song and you let me off 9p, okay? All right. There once was a man who let me off 9p. I really liked him and so did he. Thanks, mate. That's great.
Don't come back. Okay. Don't want you here. Go on.
All right. Okay, I'm going.
James has gotten used to being looked down upon. But tonight, where to sleep is still a problem. While wandering the streets, he runs into Baz again. Baz has occupied the car whose door was forgotten to be locked, and bought new drugs. In the end, James couldn't resist the temptation and relapsed. Until the next day when he was woken up by the car owner.
They've been here. Hey, what are you doing in my car? You didn't knock on this door.
James.
Why should I? What you
James.
want your private life?
James.
This isn't my private
James, come on,
life.
wake up. You can't do this. Not now,
Did
man.
you see them get in?
Do I look like a genie?
From a certain angle. Hey, what? Come back here.
Things didn't look good. Baz quickly ran away. James, however, slipped into a coma from a drug overdose. When he woke up again, he was already in the hospital. He also discovered that he had hepatitis. When James regained consciousness, he deeply regretted it. He cried and apologized to Val. Val is the doctor in charge of his detox. Originally, James had been participating in a methadone treatment program. Methadone is similar to morphine. It is usually given to those trying to quit heroin. But once you stop the medication, the next time you use heroin, you're more likely to overdose and die. Fortunately, Val didn't give up on James. She encouraged him to pull himself together and continue the treatment.
Can you play something for me?
You want to hear me sing?
Are you any good?
You once asked me how long it takes to mend a broken heart, but it's like a river song. It never really ends or starts.
James is quite talented in music. If not for his drug addiction, he wouldn't have fallen to this state. On the streets of London, you can see homeless people everywhere, with hollow eyes, having lost hope in life. But James hasn't given up yet. It's because of this that Val is willing to help him. Recently, she helped him apply for free housing assistance. A person who truly wants to quit drugs must have the motivation to keep going. The house is small, but it has everything, and 24-hour hot water supply. Seeing Val's good intentions, the only thing James can do is not let her down. That night, James took a hot bath, and suddenly heard a noise in the room. He thought it was an intruder. But it turned out to be a cat sneaking food. James breathed a sigh of relief, and poured some milk for the cat. But after finishing the milk, the cat refused to leave.
I know, but I think it's time you better go home. Hey, look this way. There you go. Yeah. Come on. Go out there. That's it, go on. No, don't look at me like that. Okay? Alright then. One night. Okay?
James decided to let the cat stay for one night. The cat was very obedient, sitting quietly by his side. The next day, James took the cat and asked around, but after asking for a while, he didn't hear anyone had lost a cat. Because he was in a hurry to go busking, he left the cat in the garden, hoping the owner would come find it. His busking in the subway didn't go well that day, and he was kicked out by the staff after singing for a while. At that moment, James saw a familiar figure. It was his father.
Hey, Dad. What are you doing here?
Oh, we're a little bit shopping, this and that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I've stopped using on the program.
Again?
James's parents divorced when he was young, and his mother lived in Australia. His father had also started a new family. With Christmas approaching, James wanted to spend the holiday with his father, but his stepmother found various excuses to reject him.
Unfortunately, our table's full, so...
Always room for one more at Christmas, no?
Don't you think, darling? Maybe one more would...
What, in our house? We'll have children there.
Hey?
What's that supposed to mean?
Jack, we're late.
I'm not contagious, you know.
Take this.
No, I don't want the money.
Here. Maybe New Year's, okay?
Drugs made him grow further apart from his family. When he returned to the apartment, he found that the cat was still there. For some reason, it was injured all over. James had no experience in caring for cats. Luckily, he met a kind neighbor named Betty. After checking, Betty found that the cat's wounds had become infected. It was infected, and needed to go to the hospital for antibiotics. James was broke. He had no money. Betty then suggested he go to an animal shelter.
You should go. Bacteria is multiplying by the second, and Bob needs a vet.
Bob?
That's what he told me he wants you to call him.
It's okay.
The cat has a new name, Bob. James took Bob to the shelter, and found it was overcrowded. The wait was incredibly long, which not only made him miss the peak busking time, but also caused him to miss his appointment with Val. He didn't expect that, although treatment was free, he'd still have to pay for the medicine.
£22.
I thought she said this place was free.
Not the drugs.
Sorry, mate. Hang on. That's all I've got. Come on, he's really sick. All right, mate. This is my food money for the next week.
It's up to you.
James used his food money to buy medicine for Bob. He didn't expect the hardest part to be still ahead. Bob was completely uncooperative.
Open wide. No. Come here. Right. Bob, look. Yeah, just down the hatch, mate. Hey, oi, come back here, mister. Come here. Right, come here. Oi, hey. Oi, no, Bob. Dad! Bob! It's all right, mate, it's okay.
Oh, I know.
I swear he wasn't like this earlier.
Yeah, well, I've had practice.
It has to be Betty who is experienced. Betty suggested taking Bob to get neutered, so he wouldn't reproduce, and it would extend the cat's lifespan. She also got some cans and allergy medicine.
What you got there?
Allergy pill.
Oh, right, I thought...
Otherwise, I am 100% anti-drug. A lot of addicts in here. Let's steer clear. So, what do you do? How did you end up here?
I'm a musician. I write songs and play.
Yeah?
Yeah, I haven't exactly been discovered yet.
James hid part of the truth from Betty. The next day, James went to see Val. He desperately explained why he had missed their appointment yesterday. At one point, he mentioned the cat. And then he shifted to talking about Betty. It became clear that he had some affection for Betty. But given his current situation, he wasn't ready for a new relationship. Any strong feelings, good or bad, could cause him to lose control of his emotions. In fact, the temptation of drugs is everywhere. There are many people in the neighborhood secretly dealing. James had now adopted Bob. He even took Bob to the vet for neutering. During this time, he and Betty had grown closer. That day, James went to the city to busk as usual. But to his surprise, Bob followed him. James tried to get him to go back several times. But Bob kept following him to the bus stop.
Come on. This is silly now. What did I just say? You're gonna get yourself run over. Hey, it's not safe out here. I mean it. You can't come with me. Seriously, you'd be surprised how much he understands. Hey, Bob. Come on, go back to the grass. Go on. Good boy. Good boy.
After James' persuasion, Bob started heading home. But the next second, he jumped back onto the bus.
What are you doing here?
Who can resist such a cute cat? James put Bob on the front of the bus, letting him experience the hustle and bustle of the world. A kind-hearted ticket agent helped by tying a shoelace around Bob, so he wouldn't run off. When they reached their stop, Bob eagerly jumped off the bus. Bob was full of curiosity about the city, but James didn't have time to wander. He had to let Bob jump onto his shoulder.
Bob, come on. Come on. Tell you what, you jump up here, okay? Look, we haven't got all day, come on. Good boy. You okay, Bob?
Oh, look at his cat. Oh, I could eat you up.
She doesn't mean it.
He's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hi.
can I have a
You
photo?
all right? Yeah, okay, sure. Say cheese, Bob. All right? Okay.
This is a famous street performance area. Tourists are all attracted to this duo. They can't resist the urge to pet the cat. The performance also draws a large crowd of onlookers. Most of them are here to see Bob.
Light up the sky. Satellite moments. Just passing by. One truth bears repeating. A simple, solemn phrase. Everything is fleeting. Everyone will change.
Bob is a spiritually aware cat. Whenever someone drops a coin, he will nod in acknowledgement, following the hand of the passerby. In the end, this performance was a big success. James happily high-fived Bob. Just then, an old lady appeared.
Got yourself a lovely ginger, all right.
Yeah.
I had a ginger Tom just like him once. Loved him with all my heart.
He's got a mind of his own.
Oh, and that's the point. The ginger's got wheels like iron, they have. Mine wouldn't leave my side to his last breath. You got yourself a lifelong partner there. Better friends than people they are. Believe me.
James had found a treasure. The day was drawing to a close. He took Bob back home by bus. They had earned a decent amount from the performance today. James bought himself a bottle of cola, and bought Bob a new leash. But to his surprise, Buzz had come looking for him. Seeing that James was doing well, he wanted to ask him to take him in. James had firmly decided to stay away from drugs. Seeing how pitiful Buzz was, he gave him money to buy some food.
Oi, you need to look after yourself, all right? Please. Please, Baz, just buy some food,
I promise, I swear.
Yeah? Don't come back here, all right?
Nice cat.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright.
It's Christmas Eve. Bob is sitting quietly on the guitar. He's accompanying James as he continues to sing. The grandma who came last time is here today as well, and she brought a Christmas gift for Bob. 2 cans of food, a little scarf. When James was living on the streets, he was always treated with cold indifference. But since getting Bob, he has gradually started to feel kindness and warmth. Back at the community, he happened to run into Betty. She invited him to come over for dinner. Betty's apartment was filled with many paintings, but she didn't seem to want to talk much about them. It seemed like it was a painful part of her past. After dinner, James took Bob to the supermarket. Life was gradually getting better. He could buy whatever he wanted now.
Want some hot dogs? No? Okay. Right, so, what do you fancy? Wild Pacific pink salmon. Is that a yes? Okay, we'll get one of them. What else? Some tuna. Yeah? Yeah, that's a yes for that as well. What else? Boneless sardines. Yeah, you want that, don't you?
James bought Bob a bunch of food, and also brought Betty a bouquet of flowers. But as he was returning to the apartment, he saw that Baz was lying on the side of the road. The needle on the ground showed he had just used drugs.
Please. Bob, down. Baz. Baz, wake up. Wake up, Baz. Wake up. Come on, wake up. Baz. Hello? Wake up. Can you hear me? Baz. Wake up. Can somebody call an ambulance? No, Bob. Bob, get away from that. No. Hey, Baz. Come on. Wake up.
Baz had overdosed on drugs and fallen unconscious. Hearing the cries for help, Betty rushed over as well.
Is he OD?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you checked his airways?
No.
Can we get him back?
Yep. Okay, come on. Is he breathing? Baz, come on. Come on, Baz, wake up.
The ambulance arrived. They took Baz away, but Betty seemed triggered. It turned out her brother had died from drug use. Her brother was a painter. He had always doted on Betty since she was little. The paintings all over her apartment were his masterpieces. After her brother's death, Betty, in her grief and longing, moved into his old house. She wanted to be closer to him. Soon, the hospital sent word. Baz had died. James was deeply shaken. He wanted to start detox immediately. He wanted to rid himself of methadone and live a good life, but Val thought it wasn't the right time yet. Today was New Year's Day. James dressed up and decided to visit his father for the holiday.
I think 2 surprise guests might be more than they can handle. No, come on. Come on. Goodbye.
All right. Happy New Year.
His father was obviously caught off guard. His 2 younger sisters showed obvious disdain. They immediately started talking about how he was a drug addict.
He's a junkie, he's a junkie.
Will you leave the tree alone? We're recovering addicts, actually.
Daddy, he's got a cat.
What the hell?
Hey, kids, meet Bob. Hey, Bob. Bob.
Chris, leave it!
Bob, face me. Stop screaming.
Jack, what is going on? They're coming at Tate.
It's James.
Mummy, he's got a cat.
But she's allergic.
I know!
Unexpectedly, the sister was allergic to cats. The stepmother ordered him to quickly get the cat out. The situation got chaotic. Bob got scared and ran around the place. In the commotion, he accidentally broke a vase.
That was my mother's.
No. Bob. I'm so sorry.
Get out of my house.
Come on, Sam.
You and your creature, just get out.
Come on, mate. I'm sorry.
James hurriedly put a leash on Bob. It would only get more awkward if he stayed. He wisely said goodbye to his father. Maybe things had been progressing too smoothly lately, and fate always seemed to test him more. The next day, James played music on the street. Suddenly, someone deliberately let their dog urinate on his bag.
Piss off, you moron.
It's more like piss on to me.
Get that dog away from here. I'm trying to play here. Come on, mate.
Come on. What? Don't touch me.
Can you get that person out of here?
What, just because there's a crowd around?
It's okay.
Don't touch me. Shut up.
Back off! You've got a bog cat under here.
The scene became chaotic. It was clear someone was stirring up trouble. Eventually, James was taken to the police station. Though the surveillance could prove his innocence, he was fined and banned from busking for 6 months. James hadn't taken his methadone on time yesterday, causing his emotional instability. His mind was preoccupied with where Bob was. Val told him to go to the pharmacy to get his meds first. Then, once he was stable, he could go get Bob. What he didn't expect was that he would meet Betty at the pharmacy.
Let me explain.
What's to explain? I have eyes, James. You're an addict. You lied to me.
No, I didn't lie. I just shaded the truth a little.
Oh, please.
Wait, look, okay, yeah, I'm on the methadone program, yeah, but I haven't used for 3 months. Believe me, I am trying to get clean.
I can't be around addicts. I told you that. It's too much. I can't do it. And I wasn't shading the truth.
During this time, the 2 of them had developed feelings for each other, but Betty couldn't bear to fall in love with an addict. In the end, they parted ways unhappily. James also needed to find another job. The next day, he went to the Big Issue magazine office. They provide work opportunities for the homeless to sell magazines. He started with a small number of free magazines. After earning a small profit, he bought more magazines. Through hard work, he was able to rise and earn more. Each seller has their own designated area, so you must not steal other people's customers. Now, James and Bob had become somewhat famous. The staff were very kind. and helped them by buying a bicycle for them.
Big issue, come on guys, give it a try, help Bob and I. Big issue. Hey, big issue.
Can I have a selfie with the cat?
You take a picture and then you buy paper. How's that? Is that
you
a
are
deal?
a good businessman. I like
Well, you
it.
know. Go on, Bob, look at the camera.
I can't get everyone in.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, he wants to give you a high five. High five, Bob. High five there.
James changed jobs. Bob still had his charm. He attracted many tourists for photos and interactions. Magazine sales were naturally not a problem. There were even reporters who wanted to cover their story. As the saying goes, the bigger the tree, the more wind it catches. James' success attracted jealousy from his peers. One day, while passing by another seller's area, someone asked to take a photo.
Sir! Me? Can I take a picture of you and your cat?
Please.
Yeah, sure. Damn it. It's okay, Bob. He likes your hat. Great. Okay,
Thank
no
you.
worries.
Can we buy a magazine?
Oh, sorry, it's not my patch. You're going to speak to that guy
We
over
just
there.
really want to help, please.
Oh, you can't.
Thank you so much.
All right, okay.
Have a great day.
All right, and you.
James didn't intend to steal customers, but the act of taking money gave others grounds to accuse him. Despite his repeated defenses, he was banned from selling magazines for a month. Life felt like an unending storm. In the following days, James had to budget carefully to get through this period. He received free food every day. He dug through trash bins on the street. He would rather eat less himself than let Bob go hungry. Even so, Bob's food was still finished. Seeing Bob meowing from hunger, James felt very guilty. He decided to take the risk and sing in the underground passage, though it was a bit dangerous. But at least he managed to survive this month. James was able to resume selling magazines. That day, a mother and son specifically came to see Bob. They even offered to buy Bob.
Even how
He's
much?
not for sale.
Well, look, obviously, this isn't the best environment for an animal, living on the street and all that. Yes, all right, darling. Look,
well,
and
we've
we'd
got
be able
that,
to
so
give him
don't
all the
worry.
things that you can't, like a decent home. And
He's not for
I'm sure
sale.
you could use the cash. How much do you want?
Oh, I don't want your money. How much for your kid? Oh, I'll trade you. Yeah, I'll give him a
Excuse
decent
me.
home.
How dare you? Exceptionally rude.
Bob was scared off by a dog. James hurried to chase, but he couldn't catch up with the cat's speed. Soon, Bob disappeared down the street. James searched from day to night. For 2 consecutive nights, he couldn't find Bob. This caused him to fall into despair and panic. He was worried about what would happen if Bob got run over by a car. Without Bob, James's life fell into chaos again. He couldn't sleep all night, struggling to rest. His willpower also began to weaken. One day, he saw someone dealing drugs. His long silent heart began to stir.
You looking for paradise? 'Cause I got all there. White, brown, whatever you like.
I want my cat. I'm looking for a ginger cat. Have you seen it anywhere? Yep.
James eventually resisted the temptation. It seemed like heaven was rewarding him for doing the right thing. After he refused the drugs, Bob came back.
Bob! Bob! Hey, mister. Where have you been, hey? Where have you been?
James was overjoyed to have Bob back. He was very excited. Next, he decided to officially get rid of methadone. Val told him. Whether his drug detox would succeed depended on whether he could endure the test. It was like having a flu 100 times worse than addiction. For the next whole week, he would struggle every hour not to go out and buy drugs. It was hard to do it on his own.
It's harder coming off methadone than kicking heroin. You can't do it on your own.
I'm not. Got him. Got me this far. The other day we were out selling papers and this guy came up to us, really well dressed. You know, the sort that wouldn't want to share the pavement with me before. He called me sir. Sir, do you mind if I take your picture? No one's ever called me sir before. And it's because of Bob. He's shown me what life could be like on the other side.
Bob was like a gift from heaven to James. He showed him the beauty and hope of life. Not only that, Bob was also the bridge between him and Betty. When Betty learned that James was going to detox, she reminded him to stock up on food, and not to give himself any excuse to go out and buy drugs. Once he was ready, James began his treatment. At first, the symptoms were bearable. He distracted himself by playing the guitar. But as the withdrawal symptoms became more intense, he became anxious and in pain. Every minute of detox was a struggle. Fortunately, Bob was with him every step of the way, making him feel protected. This gave him the strength to endure. Eventually, he made it through the long darkness, and the dawn of victory came.
Hey, mister.
James finally overcame his addiction. From now on, he lived normally in the sunlight. Val was genuinely proud of him. He congratulated him on his new life. Meanwhile, Betty was preparing to move out of the apartment, leaving her brother's shadow behind, returning to normal life. Before she left James with her new contact information. Their bond was just beginning. Later, James went to find his father, to share the good news that he had successfully detoxed. He apologized for the trouble he had caused before.
No, Dad, I don't want your money.
I didn't give up on you. I was ashamed of myself. I didn't know how to be your father. I'm the one who needs to apologize.
No.
Dad, what are you doing out there?
I'm talking to my son.
His father encouraged James to open up. As his story with Bob was featured in the newspaper, the related videos also went viral online, becoming a hot topic on major platforms. A publisher contacted James, saying they wanted to publish a book about him. When he first started writing, James had no idea where to begin. He didn't know where to start. Not long after, the book A Street Cat Named Bob was published. On the day of the book signing, a long line formed outside the bookstore. Everyone praised the book highly. James's friends and family also came to the event.
Hi, everyone. Didn't expect there to be so many people here. I could make some joke about there not being enough room to swing a cat, but I don't think Bob would like that. A friend helped me with this, and when I was stuck, her advice was start by mentioning that everyone gets a second chance, but that not everyone manages to take them. Luckily for me, I had some very important companions to help with my second chance. And then she said to just tell the truth, and that's what I've done.
The new book launch was a success. James signed books for every reader and stamped the little paw prints of Bob the cat on them.
You enjoy that?
Felt like I lived every moment.
Good.
Like satellite moments.
That's the story of a street cat named Bob. This movie is based on a true story. In the film, Bob plays himself. James, in real life, made a cameo in the movie. He's the reader who asks the male lead for an autograph. When he met the real owner, Bob's eyes lit up. In 2012, after A Street Cat Named Bob was published, it became a global bestseller. This success helped James leave his street performing career, move out of the shelter, and buy his own home. He became involved in street homelessness and animal protection, promoting charity work. James saved an injured stray cat, and in doing so, he saved himself. So no matter how bad life may get, always give yourself a chance for a new beginning. Learn to properly handle negative emotions. Choose to love cats, not drugs. Alright, that's all for this video. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. We'll continue to bring more interesting stories. Thank you for your support. See you next time.